People, Deluded, I'm back again. Now, obviously, last night Arsenal won 4-0. Last evening, better yet, we defeated Norwich 4-0. At the end of the day, it's 3 wins in a row. Can't say how many times I've seen Arsenal do that this season. Clean sheet, 4 goals, and there was a lot of things to be positive on the grand scheme of things at Arsenal. Of course, we can't be positive about our season. I mean, the best we can do this season is, sorry for the noise, people, I should have closed my window, but the best we can do this season, as you lot know, is probably finish ahead of Spurs, bring back St Totteridge Day, St Tottenham's Day, depending on what you call it. I don't know why I used to call it St Totteridge as a kid, but that's it. Either way, that day, bring it back. And obviously, FA Cup, see how far we can go. It's going to be tough against City, but that's all we can do. So we can't be too happy. But, you know, football fans, don't get me wrong, Arsenal have a special sort of fans, you know, on the internet and stuff. But it seems that Arsenal fans are the only ones not allowed to just be happy at a victory, at just seeing the team win, clean sheet, Aubameyang back to scoring goals. And obviously, on that topic, he reached a milestone of 50 goals and made it one better in 51. He got his little brace. We rotated the team as well. Not the maddest of rotations like if it was a cup game, but you saw a lot of rotation. The games are coming thick and fast, so we have to do that. Everybody that came in, did relatively well. Maybe that's a push. They did okay. Like Nelson did okay. A lot to do better, and things like that. And we got over the line. There was a lot of things that impressed me with that game. I will say, before I talk about the positive things we need to watch, like you saw, second half. For me, that first real 10 minutes of that second half, Norwich had 78 possession. And I think when you look at Norwich in the second half, when you look at Southampton in the second half, and when you look at Sheffield, now we've won all them games, but in the second half, I don't think Norwich was the better team than us in that second half necessarily. The other two had a case, but definitely there's something we need to be doing, because, you know, I did think towards the end of the first half, when it was all going well, a couple of times, as great as I felt Xhaka was, you know, we're giving the ball away unnecessarily. Ceballos the same. Second half, I think, obviously, credit to Norwich, they changed their, you know, they saw things were going wrong. The manager even took off Pukki, you know, so that means nobody's safe in that team. And you saw a change. The young lad that came in up front, you know, he had a couple of efforts and things. Cantwell played a bit better when he had less defending to do. Their changes affected us, people. And again, I think the game was won at that point, but we need to be better than that. Obviously, many people will say we won 2-0 each half, and a lot of that's true. And I did think Norwich were unlucky because they knocked the stuffing out of themselves. They put a little bit of momentum. Obviously, they're losing 2-0 or so, but they're having a bit of momentum, trying to get that second goal. Actually, I'm trying to get that first, sorry, and pull one back. They're actually doing okay, but if you look at it, it comes from a throw-in. There was a lot, not only the mistake that they made where, who's their keeper? Krul was caught on the ball trying to show off and got caught, like in another game. It was almost identical in that, like Southampton, both errors, two of the goals were almost identical. Dermot has come on the field and is doing okay. He plays a blind kick. Now, I don't blame Godfrey for that, because he can't factor in his his fellow Norwich teammate doing stuff like that. But the defender is caught flat-footed, Aubameyang exploits. And, you know, like I said, they were building momentum at that time. They've been knocked down now. It's 3-0 and it's almost game done sort of thing. Obviously, you know, in the second half, that corner, good shot from Cedric Suarez, slight deflection, take nothing away from the effort. But definitely 2 of the 4 goals they conceded, potentially 3 for me personally, Norwich could have avoided, but that's nothing to do with Arsenal. Let's go on to the better things. What I enjoyed with that game is, first and foremost, we started fast, we had shots on target, people, and we managed to get them goals. Whatever, fair enough, there was fortune with Aubameyang's goal, but I like to see that we make the pressure count, because how many times have you lot seen we're on top of teams, we're doing all these things, and then that other team will have one chance and go and score, and Norwich is the sort of team to go and do that. One thing I like as well, and again, you know, I want to see it in the bigger games to have real confidence, but 3-4-3 or 3-5-2, whatever variations Arteta, because he kind of differentiates. I think first thing I like, Ceballos and Xhaka, or whoever's playing in the midfield. My problem with when you play like a pivot is our midfield, because historically, you don't know Arsenal's midfield. We're not dynamic, we're not great defensively, we're not particularly amazing offensively. You look at our midfielders isolated and you don't really see goal scorers. You see good players, decent players, but you don't really see goal scorers, mad defensive minded people. There's all of that. Collectively as a team, they put my mind to ease. Obviously, Kolasinac, not that he's been the best player, but I have to praise him in that role. I also like Mustafi and Luiz. Hopefully, Mustafi's not injured. The wide men as well, even though I think Bellerin on the ball, you know, to call him poor in that game would be very nice. He's getting in good positions and his delivery and his decision making just ain't good enough. But just from, like you saw early on, yeah, what I liked was what we was doing with this 3-4-3 business, people, and I hope I'm holding it high enough for you. What I liked about it, obviously you've got our defence here, I mean our strikers here, depending on what you want to look at it. Our wingers, or inside forwards as I call them, they were doing this, and they was obviously they're both going out wide. Aubameyang's going out wide, but they're kind of half in the half spaces. So what does that naturally do? What you need with a 3-4-3, you need your wide men or your fullbacks, wingbacks, whatever you want to refer to them, to get forward. Tierney needs no introduction. You know Tierney does his thing up there. Bellerin, you know, Bellerin does get forward, but since he's come back from injury, admittedly, people, he's looked a bit reluctant. I don't know if it's a mixture of Arteta's comments, you know, fans, and him, even himself, seeing how good Maitland-Niles did and how good Pepe played with someone who was going forward. I don't know if he's been told to do that. I don't know if it's a mixture of Cedric Suarez. People are asking when it's time for him, and, you know, Arteta had some very generous comments. So I don't know what it was, but Bellerin, you know, was getting forward in this game and making himself a body. Now, his end product is one thing, but like I said with Bellerin, he was getting forward, and just from that you saw at times Cantwell doesn't want to do the defending. Cantwell don't want to do the defending. That's not him in it. So when he's not looking, he's gone, you know. And at times when Cantwell realised, it's one of them games, you know, you've got Cantwell down here. You've got someone who's as technical as him down there. You've got Bendira on the other side down here. You don't mind that. The midfield is trying to help them. Naturally, it was almost like a 4-5-1, people. You had Pukki on his ones. That's what I liked. Purely from making that run, Bellerin, you can see what could happen. Tierney on the other side the same. And one thing I liked about Sabas had a good game, but he's always trying to play these passes. That's one thing I'll give him, people. I really think we did well in that instance, people. Really and truly. We did well. So yeah, credit to the fullbacks. Make it like this, it looks a bit prettier. So yeah, like I said, credit to the fullbacks. I have to give credit to the goal we scored as well, because obviously, you know, it's poor from a Norwich perspective, but it's a lovely ball from I was about to call him Danny Alves. David Luiz out to the wide position of Aubameyang or whoever it laid to. Aubameyang's in the half space, like here. David Luiz played it. It's a lovely run from Xhaka. You wouldn't know Xhaka for being, technically he's box to box because he gets up and down, but following his run. Normally I'm getting at Arsenal for not following their run. Xhaka, he's actually involved in the early play, but Xhaka just continues his run, you know, literally just continues his run. He's not picked up by the Norwich lad, and there's no coincidence he's able to score. Aubameyang's goal was good as well, people, for different reasons. Like I said, yeah, they had no outball. More or less. Let's just assume everybody, like you saw, without going into formations, Norwich had everyone behind the ball. They're pending their own half. Tim Krul's kicking it out. There's not really anywhere for them to play because we are pressing so well as a team. Like, we're pressing very well. You saw our midfield up here. You know, our fullbacks, because of the system, they need to get forward. You know, is it no coincidence? Keeper, calm down. Martinez, you stay in your goal. We're playing a high line, you know, Mustafi and Luiz are up there. We had them camped in their own half and they're giving the ball away. And just simply through pressing, you know, Tim Krul unfortunately lacked on the ball and Aubameyang got his second. So we was able to exploit certain areas, people, really and truly. I did feel, like I said, second half we had problems when they went kind of a 3-5-2 to remove all the Arsenal lads and just give praise to Norwich quickly. I think they did present us with problems when they went kind of free at the back and just flooded their midfield, put Cantwell in the middle, sadly sacrificed my man, forgot his name, sacrificed one of the strikers, and they went like that. And obviously in the second half, if I do it to scale a bit, because that's not midfield, they're all kind of flat. Some Jose Mourinho tactics. They had more of a goal. Is it any coincidence Cantwell was putting himself around and he was having half-hearted penalty shots? He was doing nothing of that. None of that Cantwell stuff in the first half, because we released them. That young lad, I can't never say his name, but the young lad they brought on gave us some trouble as well. So that's probably the only criticism I can have from us in a tactical way, in that, you know, the last kind of 5 minutes of that first half, thought we was presenting possession away a bit. I feel Norwich started off the better team in the second half, and they had in the first 10 minutes 70-odd possession, but obviously we was able to exploit them. They're the only things, and Norwich cost themselves that through just cheap mistakes, because a lot of the 3 of the goals that Arsenal scored are very avoidable, and for a team fighting relegation, you know, I would actually be livid if I was Falke, the gaffer people. What I liked, like I said, we kept them in their own half, we forced them backwards a lot, we forced them to engineer their own mistakes, like you saw for Aubameyang's second, and actually his first. Lovely move obviously for Xhaka's goal, and it shows what we could do. I think that was about 6 passes. Liked how we exploited early, you know, we looked like we was on it from early, and you know, that's always a criticism of Arsenal, in that are we going to do this thing early sort of thing, people. So yeah, man, like you saw, I'll give Norwich credit, because even though they lost the game, I like to see a manager that's not afraid to change things, and it weren't going well for them in the first half. Like I told you, look, Cantwell's basically following our fullback back. You know, he can't do what Cantwell is known for. He changed up the tactics and it gave us some problems. So he's definitely a good manager. Definitely knows his thing. And unfortunately, Norwich find themselves in this position, people. You know, at the end of the day, it's 3 wins in 3. You know, this is our 5th game in 14 days, so there's been relegation. There's been rotation, sorry, not relegation, and it's needed to happen. You know, it's our 4th clean sheet in a minute now, I believe. So yeah, man, there's many things to be positive about, people. I'm just trying to make sure I'm not missing anything else. Like I said, praise. There's no need to show it to you, but I actually, through watching the game again, I knew Ceballos had a good game, but I really think Ceballos had a good game. Like I said, one thing, as much as he frustrates me, willingness to break the line, and for Bellerin, I hope it provokes him to want to improve in the final third, because one thing I give him, just from making him and Tierney staying high and wide and giving those Norwich defenders a decision, do we go back? Because if you don't go back, we're going to do 2v1s against your fullbacks. If you go back, obviously you're in your own half and you're not troubling us, innit? And that's why you saw Mustafi and Luiz, you know, the hardest thing them man there had to do today, well, true say Mustafi made one good tackle in the first half, which just showed their ball playing. I did think the ref kind of shortchanged Norwich in the sense of, I'm pretty sure Jamal Lewis, and there was definitely incidents in the first half. They were both marked for offside and they weren't offside. It's not like they were going to call anything. It's just, I'm tired of seeing incorrect decisions. So yeah, man, it was a good game. I feel tactically it was promising. Listen, I'm not trying to discredit Arsenal, but you know, Norwich are rock bottom 20th, but they are a team that we drew with. You know, 3-4-3, we're looking decent in that role. Number of individuals are shining in and stuff. Still think there's a lot of question marks, because I must admit, I want to see Aubameyang through the middle. Lacazette put himself about, should have had a couple of goals, but yeah, we did what we needed to do, man. I saw bravery from the midfield pivot. I feel Tierney was good. Obviously, do I need to tell you about Aubameyang's performance? You know, he's got 2 goals and an assist. The fullbacks, even Bellerin, even though Bellerin was lacking when on the ball, just from making that option off the ball was a problem. And I hope he sees like why he should do that more, because you can bring Pepe into the game a bit more. And you know, this is going to be the most testing time for Bellerin, because you know, he's contracted until 2023, 2022, one of them. You know, he's a captain, but there's 3 men fighting for that spot now. Maitland-Niles probably isn't going to play there. He might be seen as a midfielder, but there's someone there in an attacking sense putting pressure. If I'm Cedric Suarez, no disrespect to Bellerin, but I'm not coming here to play games. You know, I've played for Inter Milan, I'm now playing for Arsenal, I've won something for my country. I'm 28, 29, I've got a 4-year deal. I'm not trying to be on the bench to someone that's a midfielder playing fullback, or someone that's come through the academy and there's been a lot of question marks, and maybe that provokes the best out of him. I'm not trying to scapegoat or bring anything, but I'm just watching the game again. That was one highlight. I'll give credit to Joe Willock. I think Joe Willock's energy, I think on the ball he is lacking a bit technically at first team level from what I'm seeing. Do think he needs to sort out his decision making, but I did think his energy kind of got us something, and he actually earned the corner that led to Cedric Suarez's goal, if I'm mistaken. I think Eddie's improved as well, not just goal scoring, but physically, and away from physically and confidence and stuff. He understands now, you know, scoring is one point. Ultimately, goals, you know, strikers are going to be judged on goals. But he understands it's not just about that. And it was nice, obviously in his little cameo, he was doing nice little touches and little passes and just showing he's always developing and adding things to his game, you know. It's up to him if he wants to be the sort of next Aubameyang in that, you know, the 20 league, I think Aubameyang's got 19 now, but you get the point, like 20 league goal minimum sort of man. Or if he wants to be a squad player, someone we can call upon, it's down to him. Either way, I think we've got a good player in there, you know. I think Nelson played better than I thought watching the game again. It's just for him, I think he, you know, he hasn't, I don't want to make the excuses of he's a bit rusty, he hasn't played in time, because a lot of this is true, he hasn't really started. I think Nelson, will he hit the heights of, you know, Saka and Martinelli. I don't know. He was someone to see him do that, but I think he could be a decent player. He did all right in the game, man. You just want to. He just seems a bit of a confidence player. You just want to see him play with a bit more confidence. Just improve your decision making. I don't think he's a bad player. But next season, the same way we're very left-hand centric and doing nothing on the left-hand side, I want to see the right-hand side. Forget Pepe's price tag. Pepe's a bloody good footballer. Let's do a thing, man. Let's give him something to work with. Let's get a real good partnership down that right-hand side, because we shouldn't be so left-hand centric. And to be fair, we've been left-hand centric even way them days. Kolasinac was the one playing left-back, you know, and Aubameyang was going out wide, and even Xhaka being a midfielder on the left had floats out there. So it was a good performance, man. At the end of the day, we're 6 points off top 4. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I'm just highlighting that to find positives. I'm not suggesting we're going to get that, because that's all a myth. Just in terms of winning and a feel-good factor and trying to build things for next season and some spirit for next season, it's nice to win 3-0. It's obviously nice to win in your first home game, technically, since the restart. But we can't rest on our laurels. In the same way, you shouldn't get your head down unnecessarily in bad times. In good, not that it's good times, but you shouldn't get excited either, because we've got a tough game against Wolves, people. Wolves, who are, what, 2 points off the top 4 and should be licking their lips because they got, you know, Spurs are not involved, but Spurs are there. Spurs are playing on Thursday. Obviously, seeing Chelsea lose to West Ham and seeing Manchester United's good form, you know, Leicester buckling as well. Not only 4th, but 3rd could be up for grabs. So there's no time for Wolves to waste. So we're going to be playing a tough team on Saturday, people. You know, galvanised, playing well, got a good tactics and all of them things. And, you know, Norwich has been and gone. It's irrelevant now. Let's look at that game, what we did well, what we did wrong, and try and incorporate it to Wolves. And we'll see how that one goes, people. But on that note, I've got nothing more to add. People, Deluded, thank you for watching my tactical review and my general ramblings. Thank you.